we're back in Thailand for the first time after about 2 years. It's really nice to get back. We got a scooter, got a navigator behind me telling me which way to go, which I think she really enjoyed. She enjoyed being the boss. Turn left, turn right, stop, go back. We're staying at the base of this mountain, Chiang Dao, which is about 7,100 feet. And to its right is a small Buddha being built. And as you approach it, you see how gigantic it is. And it's quite funny. Everywhere we went, we saw scenes like this of people taking fashion shoots. This one with the mountain in the background. This is on the way to our Airbnb, which is just at the foot of the mountain. Just take a right off the road and you head down a long grass driveway and we get to our country abode. Very simple place, but very beautiful. It's built on stilts, and underneath the house are a couple of hammocks, a dining table, some mountain bikes, which we took a few trips on. And then upstairs, a pretty simple place, single room, bed on the floor. There was air conditioning and a fan when the electricity actually was on. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. And the view from the balcony was pretty fantastic. All green, the mountain in the background. You don't hear anything but sounds of nature, so it was quite nice. And then in the morning, you just stumble back down the grass driveway to get breakfast. There's a small restaurant right next to the roadside, and breakfast was included with our Airbnb. And every day it was nice to just take a slow walk up into the restaurant to eat. Sadapon was our guide last time we came here on a 2-day mountain hike.
Welcome to winter time.
สวัสดีครับคาเฟ่โปร While the dodo was out running early in the morning, I'd drop a pot or two of coffee and then wait for breakfast, which was sometimes eggs and sausage, and then other times something a little more Thai like khao tom, which is a soupy rice with vegetables. It's kind of strange eating soup for breakfast, but when in Thailand. This is the 1 out of 3 bike rides where the Dodo-chan didn't crash. I mean, she's got the fitness, but it's all about the bike handling, as you can see. A little bit shaky, a little bit silly. Our first ride of the trip was a 50-mile cafe ride, and she had no issues with the 50 miles. It was a piece of cake. But before we even got to this old school cafe, the captain of Team Turtle decided it would be smarter to stop her bike with her knee rather than using her brakes. I don't understand it. I've never seen anything like it. It was a bit scary, to be honest. Meanwhile, other members of the team stayed upright and partook of the pineapple on the side of the road. Nevertheless, we enjoyed this cafe, and we actually had lunch and then visited yet another cafe deeper into the rice fields, which was Japanese style, quite beautiful. There's absolutely nothing about durian that says, "Eat me, I'm yummy." From the spiky exterior to the inside to look like abortions. They smell like a 2-week-old murder scene. And once you bite it and swallow it, it fights your insides like a demon. My wife often burps up the remains in the middle of the night, thinking it won't wake me up, but it does, immediately. Deep in the countryside, we ran into a portable noodle guy. He had a stainless steel cart attached to a motorcycle, and pots of noodles and broth and all kinds of meat. I had a very strange thought process when walking up to this guy. I thought, this is definitely going to make me sick. At the same time, I was starving, so I was like, fuck it, let's give it a go. And it turns out it was absolutely delicious. No problems whatsoever. If all you ever did is visit the cafes in Chiang Dao, you'd see most of it. In this case, there was one built deep into the rice fields, former rice fields most likely. The structures are quite modern, and there's a number of props that people can use for photo shoots. For example, this rickety bamboo bridge over the former rice fields, and then all kinds of places to sit and take photos and sip your coffee. Or for those with talent to draw, I just focused on my iced coffee. We also fed some ducks, which was quite fun. Not all cafes are created equally, and this one, which was about 5,000 feet up, had the greatest view. And we sat here for quite a while, drinking coffee and eating banana chips. And it's so far away from everything else that they don't even speak Thai here. They speak some kind of local dialect. For the very adventurous, you can book rooms here in the houses below and stay like a B&B. We interrupt this video with a message from our 3 sponsors: the imports, the locals, and the hyper-local craft beers. I'm not usually much of a temple person, but the Sarapon highly recommended this one. They ask you to help them carry things, and you got a choice between some small stuff and this very heavy bag of rice. And I knew a little bit about this temple and how many steps it was to the top, so I opted for something a little less heavy. And I was already out of breath at this point. The temple is close to our Airbnb, and it's otherwise known as the 400 Steps Temple. And as you climb up to the temple, you can read many of the sayings. Here's a view of the temple in the distance. It's being worked on at the moment. I just took my time and enjoyed the scenery. I think this one is a really good one. Something I should probably keep in mind. And it wasn't just a temple, it was a temple complex. There were monks' residences and various buildings, a kitchen. And then when you get close to the temple itself, as is the case in most things in Asia, you have to take off your shoes. And I didn't know anything about the temple, except that it was 400 steps to get there. And when I finally reached it, I realized it's a cave that has a large roof built over it. And the cave is full of all kinds of golden Buddhas and pictures of the various famous monks that have worked here and lived here over the years. If you were to go all the way back into that dark corner, there were a few monks that were in the lotus position that were mummified. And it probably isn't a good idea to show that on a video. On the way back out, I just enjoyed the nature. It's truly spectacular. This